It's also going to admit people in, but it does get a little bit annoying with all the buzz here and there. But yeah, so if you don't want your name or video shown on the recording, you can change your settings now.
And it's not that we
And
slow roll anything.
everybody
We're trying to
could.
deal with things as quickly as we can and acquire control over things.
I'm meeting her, don't worry.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so we're starting now, everybody.
Potentially.
And
So
we should be going to the next. Okay, so hopefully this, are you, yeah. Okay. So it is almost the end of October, but I want to make sure everybody knows it's OT month, and on the 27th was the World OT Day. So happy OT month, everybody. Yahoo! Okay, so today we're going to just go over a few things. I have some new faces on the line, so if I introduce you, you can give a wave or a little hello to the group here. We're also going to go through some of the manual wheelchair order forms. That's the whole reason why we're here, highlighting some changes that we've made for the SR45, the Zippy, Iris, and the Iris forms. And we have Amanda with us today. Amanda! And she's going to review the main highlights and features of the SR45 and the Iris and some of the options and accessories that are available through Sunrise. And then afterwards, we will kind of go through what are the standard funded options through the program versus what are the justification items that people have to add their medical or functional justification on their applications. And then some updates from Sarah as well towards the end with some time for wrap up and questions. So I wanted to just introduce, if they're on the call today, Kyla. Where's Kyla? There's Kyla. So she's our part-time 0.6 occupational therapy support for the Southern Health region at this point. So excited to have you, Kyla. And I think we're also trying to see if we can throw another region, the Interlake, towards you eventually. We have that as a posting. So there is feedback right now, so I don't know if that's me or what, but sorry about that. So welcome, Kyla. And then Jenna. Hi, Jenna. So Jenna's our point for Prairie Mountain Health OT that will support our roles as well through the Manitoba Wheelchair Program. So we're excited to have Jenna, has a lot of experience in the region. Everybody knows her and loves her as well. So great to have you guys on the team. And finally, Sarah. So Sarah's over here. Some of you know her already. So Sarah comes to us with 0.5 EFT here in the office. And she also has her multiple hats that she wears through Easy Street as well. So welcome, Sarah. I think this is your first session with us.
It is, yes.
Yay. So exciting to have somebody share this huge responsibility. So I'm glad to have the team. And of course, we're hiring for Southern Health, oh, sorry, not Southern, Interlake and Northern region as well. So those postings are up, I believe. So if anybody's interested, give us a shout and find out what that position entails, and we'll get you on the right track. Okay, I will be, I think, turning it over to Amanda right now. 1 second. So, yeah, sorry. So some of you might notice there's a bit of tweaking on our website. So our media rep has done a little bit of a rejigging of the website. So there's a little bit of a difference, but you'll still get to see the operation manual, the updated order forms for the Sunrise chairs has been uploaded, so go to the website and check it out. And then now I'm introducing Amanda. Sorry about that, Amanda.
Thank you. Oh, no, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. 1 second, Amanda.
Okay. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I've got crazy dogs and sometimes they do their thing and they yell. So please accept my apology. So you guys see my screen? We're good? Okay, and so a lot of this is going to be refresher for the majority of the people on this call. I didn't get a look at everybody on the call, but I'm assuming I did see Gord come in, so I know that this is refresher for people like Gord. So I apologize, but I figure it's all good info and why reinvent the wheel. I already had a presentation, so I just tweaked it a little bit. So the idea for today is that we're going to review the rotational tilt technology, similarities and differences between the Zippy, the Quickie Zippy and the Iris, as well as the similarities and differences between the Iris and the SR45, and then a little bit about the clinical applications of the products. So I think this is really important. It's a little old, it's a little boring, but in order to appreciate the intelligent rotation in space, we kind of have to understand the evolution of tilt. So you guys all know fixed pivot chairs, right? Huge long wheelbases, always challenges with mechanical locks and gas struts and limitations on tilt, of course. One of the best examples is the Zippy TS, which is actually one of our chairs. The client's center of gravity actually moves outside of the frame, which means that the wheelbase length needs to be really long in order for us to provide stability to the client. But this obviously, once we increase that wheelbase, we're compromising maneuverability. So the sort of first introduction of a tilt in space was the sliding pivot, which the best example would be the Solera. For any of the oldies on this call who remember the Solera. And it used a slide bar that sort of went down and forward, which meant that we could keep a smaller wheelbase and a sliding center of gravity. The front knee pivot, and I've got another slide on this, which I always like to share. It's limited tilt range. And again, because it has to have the mechanical locks and gas struts, we have issues with those types of componentry. And it's sort of a niche application. And then, of course, rotation in space, which you guys are familiar with the Iris and the SR45. We've got up to 60 degrees of posterior tilt, a really small footprint, and then the center of gravity and the center of rotation are aligned. And we eliminate any of those problematic gas struts or mechanical locks. So what is rotation and rotational tilt technology? I know you guys know this, but it's the mechanism in all of those chairs that we mentioned, and the center of rotation aligns with the center of gravity and mass. So much more comfortable, much more sort of intuitive feel, and no resistance when clients going into and out of tilt. So what are the benefits? Center of mass remains stable, and I highlight stable because, of course, we know how important stability is, and what we're accomplishing by minimizing that base, it's stability, right? So it's the shortest wheelbase, stability again, and that neutral resistance going in and out of tilt is hugely important. And I always recommend that if you guys have the opportunity to go into any of these tilt chairs, try them out. Try a gas strut, try the knee pivot, and try this, because obviously there's that sort of, especially with a lot of our clients, they've got that unsettling feeling when they go into tilt. We've seen it. We've had it happen to us at shows, right? So try them out yourself so that you know what we're prescribing and what our clients are going into. So this is the slide we were talking when I kind of brought up the knee pivot, because I know that those are an important part of the portfolio that's offered today. But the one thing you want to keep in mind is that majority of those knee pivots only have about 25 degrees of tilt and minimal degrees of recline. And the recent research indicates, as you can see, 35 degrees of tilt combined with a minimum of 100 degrees of recline is needed for enhancing blood flow over the ITs. And the most recent RESNA positioning paper regarding this states that it should be 25 degrees when combined with at least 120 degrees of recline. So this is important, because unless we're only prescribing that knee pivot chair for stability or for positioning, we're actually really not getting any of the benefit for pressure reduction or any of the effectiveness. And we know that those smaller angles, a lot of our clients prefer a smaller angle of tilt and or recline because they're for functional purposes. But if we're doing it specifically for pressure management, pressure reduction, we're not really accomplishing anything. So we'll start the Zippy Iris. So this is our pediatric, well, not specifically, we can certainly put adults into it. As you can see, we go up to 18 inches in width and depth, but we're limited to that 225-pound weight capacity. This goes up to the 55-degree tilt, and you can set that minus or plus. You can do 0 or minus or plus, right? So you're starting at either plus or minus if you need if there's help needed with transfers or anything like that. And this chair is part of that True Fit growth program, which is that we will grow the chair at no charge within 5 years. This, I don't super support the product, but you need to know it exists. Some families really want a folding tilt chair. And if that's the case, we do have that option in the Zippy Iris. Now this one, I know I always use this slide because I am absolutely obsessed with these feet. And I know based on you guys being a recycle program, it's not going to happen, but it can. These will mimic any degree of hanger, and we can do the extensions with them. So they're a very versatile foot. But you'll notice that there's a 165-pound weight cap on it. So we are very limited with the clients that we can use them with, but certainly think about them for your pediatric clients or your smaller adult clients. The Quickie Iris. So we're going into a higher weight capacity. This is more of your adult base chair, 300 pounds, or we can do the heavy duty version, which goes up to a 400-pound weight cap. Again, 55 degrees of tilt. You can do that plus or the minus. And then our widths go from 14 to 22 and depths as well. I have that highlighted that power tilt is new. It's not new anymore, but it is available. And one of the important things, and this is the question that comes up quite often, is the lowest seat to floor. We can actually accomplish a 12.5-inch seat to floor with a drop base on this chair. And it is, again, this is also part of the True Fit program. So we will grow it within 5 years at no charge. You have the options, and we're going to go over a lot of the options later on, but the mono back is a super cool back. So basically this allows you to mount any size back with any size seat width. So obviously not everybody's going to be built with the same chest measurement as hip measurement. So I could conceivably put a 12-inch back on a 18-inch seat, and I can actually offset this back as well up to 2 inches. So in terms of just sort of customizability, this is a really cool feature, a really cool option. And you can see that it actually has the dynamic back as well that can be engaged or locked. So I think we've done this, angle and height adjustable lower extremity amputee supports are available. The Zfinity feet are available, but again, with that 165-pound weight range. And this is a cool feature. And I think Sarah had asked me whether that was standard. So the back folds down. So when we talk about the Zippy product being able to fold with the cross braces, I find that this chair folds just as small once you remove the rear wheels, because that back folds down. So it's kind of a cool thing for anybody that needs to transport in and out of a vehicle. So what are our clinical applications of the Zippy? They're going to be the same for both products, because essentially it's the same chair, just the pediatric version versus the adult version. So your complex rehab client, where they've got complex positioning or medical needs, require contractures, which this had come up recently in Winnipeg as well. Ventilators, IV poles, all of those componentry are available on these chairs over the SR45. Posterior tilt improving and help facilitating feeding and respiratory function, which you guys know this stuff. The dynamic back being able to move to maintain proper positioning and reduce the wheelchair damage resulted from involuntary movements.
Amanda?
Skin integrity, we know. Do you have yep, go ahead.
I'll raise my hand when a comment comes in.
Okay,
but
perfect.
there was a question about the mono back fitting smaller wheelchairs, for example, a 20-inch backrest on an 18-inch wheelchair.
So you're good. The only thing that you'd be challenged with there is armrests and right? And so if there's going to be interference, we can also do custom. I know that we try to shy away from it, but we do have a built for me program, which we can kind of customize just about anything. But of course, there's always money associated with that. So the only thing you'd be worried about is interference with the arms. And then this, so one of the other clinical applications would be gaining or losing weight. So if you know that you've got a client that has a tendency to gain and or their diagnosis is sort of predicting that they're going to lose, that True Fit program is huge, right? Because the cost of growing or shrinking a chair can be pretty astronomical for a client. So certainly that would be a pretty good clinical justification right there. And the similarities between the two. So essentially the Zippy and the Quickie are the same, like I said, pediatric versus adult. So you can see here with everything that's available on both and all my little check marks. So yep. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody. When to choose the Iris over the Zippy Iris. So that top measurement from the seat to the top of the head, or if you need that higher weight capacity, and or if you have 16 or higher, you would go into the Quickie Iris. So now the SR45. So huge difference in the weight capacity here at 265 pounds. I still go to a 20 width by a 22 depth, but the limitations obviously within that weight range at or weight capacity at 265. 45 degrees, and I only do 45. So unlike the Iris and the Zippy Iris, I don't have the option of doing the plus or minus 5. I'm limited to 0 with 45. And again, it's not new, but the power tilt option and a recline option. And on this chair, my lowest seat to floor is 14 inches. That seems to be a question that we get often, so I figured I'd just add that in. So the clinical application, the client that requires a tilt wheelchair, obviously for pressure management, they need the rotational tilt for a shorter, more maneuverable base. And potentially it's an older adult who's unable to weight shift independently. More of your long-term care sort of facility product. And then this is the big difference between the two. I do have another slide coming up that talks about the materials of both, but we just don't have as many options on the SR45. I think that, within a custom sort of perspective, we can probably add a ventilator tray, but because those things are standard on the Iris, I just don't think it would be valuable to quote that out and get custom involved. And this is the slide where we talk about the different frame materials. Now, interestingly enough, it doesn't really change the weight of the product. So the weight of the product, the SR45 is a pound heavier. And I mean, you guys know, based on all the other products on the market, we weigh a naked frame with nothing on it. But you're 38 versus 39 pounds, regardless of the material that's used. The True Fit program being the big draw there, I think, with the Iris, and then that heavy duty package availability. So this is interesting because I think, and we can talk open after. If you think that your client needs that lower seat to floor, this seems to come up a lot here, and I'm sure it does there as well. People searching for the lowest seat to floor possible, and I'm sure it's got something to do with potential foot propulsion when they're not in tilt. So again, we do that 12.5 inches on the Iris with the drop base. That anterior tilt is important. So if you're doing that -5 to assist with transfers, right, that would be justification of one over the other. And then the higher weight cap if we're going into a HD version of the chair. And the instability of weight, which we talked about. So this actually, Sarah, this is one of the things that had come up when you and I were emailing, I think last week, was why and when we're going to one wheel option over the other. For the most part, for maneuverability and better outdoor performance, you're good with the 12 or the 16 mags. I don't think there's much difference in terms of the performance there. You're eliminating some of the width of the chair because we don't have hand rims. However, we can remove hand rims on our bigger wheels as well. I would say probably the only reason that we'd be going to a bigger wheel would be for self-propulsion, which if majority of our clients aren't doing, you're probably going to be in that 12 or 16-inch mag range. The low poly versus the full poly is a material thing. So that's just going to be the low poly is going to be sort of a softer material. So almost like doing a semi-pneumatic where you're going to have better performance outdoors. Now this is the big one, and when we go over the order form, we're going to talk about this. I couldn't get my sun parts to work today, nor could Cherry, so I have to apologize that these are the best pictures I could find. But we having taken out all the black on the order forms, one of the biggest issues with the order forms was that the first picture that you're seeing here, which is the extension tube mount fit, was blacked out. So you only had the front mount, which actually mounts right to the tube itself. And the only option you had was either this, the picture sort of on the right, was the 2 or the 4-inch extensions, right? Whereas with the extension tube mount, the foot plate is mounted to that tube, which then travels the length of the actual hanger. And this, I should have put up my sun parts, but register for my sunrise. I think, oh, there you go. Yes. So Sarah's showing you that just the front mount, right? Which has limitations in terms of obviously, and and when we go over the order forms, we're going to look at all of the different measurements as well, because we've now opened up this huge range of lower leg length measurements by unblacking that section of the order form. So this is my contact info. Please take it down, my phone number. And there is, we couldn't get it working today, but if you go on sunparts.ca, if you ever have a question and can't get a hold of somebody, something like this, for example. So this is what the little schematic would look like if you go onto sunparts.ca. Click on manual wheelchairs, click on Quickie, click on Iris or SR45, and then it'll give you a list of all the componentry, and then you can know what you're looking at and what we're talking about. Not that you guys need this whole extended schematic with the nuts and bolts, but it just gives you an idea of what these components look like. So I think that is it for that little PowerPoint. Now, if we want to, I don't know, Chair, if we want to go right into the order form and go over sort of what we unblacked and those lower leg length measurements.
There's a couple questions on the chat. Are your presentations available? Like I can send them out after, Amanda?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then I'll send out what we're talking about too. So hopefully, I also added the link for the sun parts. I found the one with the PDF manuals on it. So if people are looking for different parts on the iris, that was helpful for me. So the parts itself, when you're clicking on individually, wasn't working,
but the
PDF works. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I think some of them have a PDF and some of them don't.
Okay.
But the ones, and you know what? It's funny because one of my colleagues, hers wasn't working either. But I'd be curious for anybody on this call to jump into SunParts and let us know if yours works, because it is a really, really cool tool when you have no idea what this thing is that we're talking about, right?
That's right. Okay, Amanda, I think there'll be questions as we go through the different accessories. So if you just have a couple of things ready to go for like the armrests and those kind of things, we'll go through them right away.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks, Amanda. I will now share my specific slides of what changes we did. Can everybody see my slide now? So Amanda finished hers. Thanks. I gave you 25 minutes and you're like on it. Okay, so here, if you go to or follow along, you can pull up our order forms from the website. This is the Quickie SR45. You're going to see that it's been updated in February 2024. And we're just rolling it out now. But there's a lot of changes that we had to go back and forth with Amanda and her team to say, like, oh, do you like it this way? Oh, no, I don't like it this way. So anyway, so bear with us. I think we did a final power or order form here. So the big thing you're going to look for is the date. It's February 2024. We've discontinued the other forms, and there's a legend now at the top. So I'll just walk you through that one. The SD is now C dealer. J's are your justification, and C is the no charge option or what's funded through the program, and NA is not available from us. You might be able to get it from a dealer as well, but we just don't put it on our chairs just due to recyclability of the options or due to parts that we can't stock every single part and limited warehouse space. So we just don't make that available for our purchases. So I know this is quite small, I'm sorry, but if you are following along, I'm just going to move everybody's faces out of the way here. But this is the base model. I've highlighted a little bit of the changes that we are introducing in the next couple of slides here. But your SR45, the base model, is what it is. And think of what Amanda was saying when you want to go from an SR45, you have to have the justification to go to the Iris, and a lot of them are pretty straightforward, like the weight capacity of the frame, like she had said. Okay, so basically the front page is the same, but there's SDs and NC. So the reason why we don't do option to purchase items with Sunrise stuff has just been a complicated with the invoicing. So I can't separate my invoice from the chair versus the accessories at this point. We're hoping down the road that might change, but currently it's not possible. So we are Manitoba possible, but that is not possible at this point. Ah, funny. Okay. Next slide. It's not changing. Oh, there we go. Again, tiny here, but we offer the 12-inch and the 12-inch low poly, the highlighted options here, the 22 and the 24 for your rear wheel sizes. On the casters, it says no charge on some of those 4-inch, 5-inch. That's because at the order of the chair, they don't charge me for those casters. However, if you are needing replacement for those casters that we don't carry, that would be something to discuss with your clients, and that they may need to get those funded for replacement. So at the initial ordering time of these chairs, they don't get charged to us, but those are stuff we don't carry. So it is something to think about. On the bottom part there, it'll say what casters we do provide, and here it says no charge for everything. So that might be something I'll have to change with you, Amanda, but we usually do the 6-inch poly and the 6x1.5 semi-pneumatic as a justification, and the 8-inch poly is a no charge. So typically we don't provide the 4-inch, 5-inch, or the 5x1.5. So that might just be something we can change down the road. But on the initial order form, when we order the chair brand new, those are no charge. Okay. So rear wheels, I think we had talked about what we provide. They come with a hand rim, or you can also ask them to be removed. I'll only remove them if the tires or they're mag wheels. So I don't think we have spoke wheels as an option here, which I don't think we do. So they're all mag wheels. So yes, they can be removed for accessibility, those kind of things. Wheel lock and all that, I think it's all the same. There's still available options there. Okay, this is the one that we're just talking about, is the hanger. So on the SR45, it's only the 70/80s swing in and out extension mounts. So that's the one that is standard for the SR45. So I noticed there's no other options here for hangers for the SR45. there is the elevating leg rest and extension tube. So if you go into, I'm just gonna exit this right now. And I'm gonna go into our Iris order form and I'm gonna compare.
It was the front mount, Cherry, where it was just right underneath of, I think, the first 3 options was the front mount.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna go, can everybody see the Iris order form now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to expand this. So this is the big change that we're talking about. In the Iris, we have the section A is the hanger mounted footrest, which is the same as the SR45s. I'm just looking at Amanda to make sure. So then you choose that and your hanger mounted footrest extension tubes. So that is the standard ones that we had offered originally. So what we found was that clients with really long legs did not fit these types of footrests, correct, Amanda?
That's right. The
So,
length wasn't, yeah.
but in the old section, the section B extension tube mounted footrests with the extensions were blacked out. So I never understood that.
Yeah. Because it's either front or extension tube mount. So if it's
Right.
extension tube mount, then we're, yeah.
So
We've
I
got all
don't
the length. And then
have
you pick your extension tube short, medium,
short,
tall.
medium, long.
Yeah.
So there is a little handy dandy matrix. I think I'll show you at the bottom here, and it'll tell you the different. Was that
Yeah.
matrix fixed?
The
I think it was.
matrix is going to make it so easy
Okay.
because now it's like black and white versus what the heck are we looking at?
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna jump that down here. So sorry for the scrolling. Here we go. And I'm gonna. Can everybody see this? Right? Sarah, I'm just looking at you. Okay, so at the very end of the Iris order forms, there's this handy dandy matrix here. So this always confuses people, and honestly, it confuses me all the time. And it's probably something I need Amanda to explain to us so that we all are on the same page. So the front mount hangers can be available for the SR45 and the Iris. So for your standard height people, but as soon as you're looking at your tall
Longer.
people, not
Yeah.
even really tall, I thought like over 5'10". I think
That's
Gord on the call
exactly.
here
Yes.
has a client that is not super tall, but legs are really long. So we've had to figure out these extension mount hangers. So do you want to talk a little bit about this matrix and how people should use it?
Yeah, so ELR we know is elevating, and then the ALR is articulating. But you can see, like, if you're probably not doing it as often, but with the articulating, your max is 19 inches. So you're adding a 4-inch cushion to that, and you've got a max of
23.
like I don't know that we're seeing that many lower leg lengths that long. So really the most limitations are with the front mount hangers, unless you've got a really small client. I would say for the most part, we're going to be doing the extension mounts.
Right. Yeah, and that was never offered, and I think it was just more of like the people's understanding, and we just had to offer the basic options. But really, for your tall clients, they're never fitting those front mount hangers alone. So I think that was the big difference on these order forms. I'm going to stop sharing this one, and then I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. 1 second. Sorry, there's a lot of back and forth. Okay, am I on the right screen, everybody? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go back one out. Okay, so we talked about the leg rest. Now the backrest option, there is, I'm back on the SR45 screen here. There is the option for the reclining backrest on both the SR45 and the Iris. Also, there's the addition of a power tilt on both chairs as well. We just don't offer funding for the power tilt. So that would be a C dealer option. I can't do even option to purchase on that, like I said. So back post style for the SR45, that remains the same options. I think we didn't have to do anything too differently with that section.
I honestly think it was just those legs that
Leg
was the
rest, okay.
huge issue. And then just components, right? Because we did like some of the wheels were blacked out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for armrest, I think this was a little bit fuzzy for me as well, but the dual post armrests are the standards that we provide. Unless you can provide a reason or justification for the single post height adjustable, I looked at the cost and really as like aware of this funding hat, the costs are expensive compared to the dual post. So I don't know, Amanda, what is the clinical thing that you've seen for people with single posts versus dual
Like
post?
like a justification.
Yeah, like what are you
Uh,
seeing out there? Maybe for transfers, is
you
that
know
easier
what?
for transfers? Like,
I would
I'm
say that that's it, right? Because outside of needing to ease of removing them, I would assume that it would be just for
yeah.
transfers. But you know what?
And
I can get you guys, like if you need little justification cues, I can get that for you from somebody on our
oh,
clinical
okay.
team.
And I'm just going to pipe in here because my understanding is a dual post, you have about an inch wiggle room on the SR45. But if you
Okay.
have a single post, you only have like half an inch wiggle room.
I'm just looking at some of the chat here. Sorry, I missed them.
And so
Yeah.
when you say wiggle room, you mean like between the frame and the, like sort of where your cushion
Yeah. You know how
and
you
your
have
frame?
the seat bars, which is your
Yeah,
true
yeah,
width measurement, but
yeah.
then the way the armrests are mounted, you have a little bit of extra room
Okay.
with the dual post because it offsets out of those um, rails of the seat
Yeah,
pan.
yeah.
Whereas with the single
Single.
post, it's pretty much flush with the seat
Okay.
rails.
Yeah.
So you have
Is that
less,
something, but that wouldn't necessarily be like I guess that's a clinical justification because of positioning.
or just if somebody wears a winter jacket all the time, like sometimes
Yeah, 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 yeah.
people like to have that little bit of extra
hmm
for their newspaper or their purse or whatever it is they're
Oh,
sticking
okay.
beside themselves. And I don't know if there's any peds. I just have noticed from the applications I've approved, like a lot of peds therapists tend to always go with the single post. So I don't know if
hmm
the peds therapists want to pipe in on why that
I have a
is.
couple of reasons here. I think some of the clinicians, yeah, definitely add your rationale and stuff on the chat. But from Rita, dual post can interfere with dynamic back gains. Okay, it happened recently. So that's good to know. There's a question about clarifying when to order extension mounts. Oh, when ordering extension mount hangers, how to properly measure the length of extension required. So yeah, do you want to go over the use of the charts again? Because I think people are getting a little bit messed up on where it says to measure. Most of us measure down
From the top of the upholstery
seat
or the
pan,
seat pan. Yeah.
okay, and then down to the foot
Back of
plate.
yes, yeah,
Okay, the back of the foot plate,
yeah.
and then you add your cushion after
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
So is that your finished height then, or not finished? So
So
there's that range, right?
just to the pan is, so if we go back to that chart, right? If we've got a 14 minimum, then we're adding, if we're doing a 3-inch cushion, then we're at 17. So that's a 17-inch lower leg length, right?
Okay, let me see if I can, I might have it on my PowerPoint here.
And I know that's going to be
Here we
different
go.
from your peds to your adults. Yeah. So like the minimums being, on and that's the short, medium or long extension tube. 10 and a half then plus your 4-inch cushion, that's a 14 and a half inch lower leg length, right on the 70-degree swing in, swing out short.
Right.
But
And
then
then there's,
but then you're gaining the length, right? Because the shortest measurement, right, is when it's all the way up, and then your length, because right, then you're getting up to on a medium 17 and a half, and you're adding a 3-inch cushion to that, you're at 20 and a half lower leg length.
okay. I yeah, sometimes I understand it, and then when I have to like look at a person, I'm like, I don't remember how he did it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm confused too. So whoever's asking
So
me
with
about that.
yeah, so just to the seat pan, if you know, the only trouble typically would be if you don't know while you're seeing that client what cushion that you're going to put them
What,
on, which
right.
that sometimes happens, right? And then that's where you just have to keep in mind when you're looking at these measurements, what's going to give you the most flexibility within their actual measurement.
Yeah, so I guess if you're unclear, you want to give yourself a longer range of like if your cushion's going to change
Yeah,
within the
yeah.
next year or so, you might want to make sure you get the longer range as well,
Right.
maybe.
Or if you're considering if you, like custom seating is on order and you're not sure how it's going to turn up, because sometimes those systems turn up to be a lot deeper than we have anticipated they would.
Hmm.
So, you know, keep those things in mind as well.
Okay, I hope
Yes.
that answers your question. Oh, Sarah's doing
So
something.
I'm just going to demonstrate
Yeah.
kind of, but this is what you're,
Yep, exactly.
so
So
this
to the
would be
back of the foot plate to
13.
the top of the seat pan. What is it, Sarah?
It's 13. And then you can kind of see with this one, because it's got the longer thing, you have some extension.
You
Oh,
still,
so you
yeah.
have
So
adjustability
you
for the,
have
See,
you have
those are the
one,
front
two,
mounts that
yeah.
three,
you've got
4,
there.
5 holes that you can move it up and down that post.
Yeah.
That might be the longer extensions. I know we don't advertise it, but you guys do have a 6-inch extension for some of those chairs too.
Yes, we do. But that doesn't, I don't even think that's got the extension in it, does it?
No, I think that's
It
just
might,
a front mount hanger.
yeah, it's just the
Yep.
front mount.
Okay. So the front mounts don't have that extra piece of extension tube, which would be that section B then that people are filling out on the iris. So I know this is going to be asked from everybody. Will that be a reason to go up from the SR45 to the iris because they can't get the leg rest long enough for their
Well, you
clients?
can, yeah. So go back, if you go back to the SR45 to the feet, the legs,
The
do you,
section that I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
The
Yeah.
order
Okay.
form?
It's really small, but hopefully this
Yeah.
is,
Oh,
oops,
one.
sorry, one more. There you go.
Yeah. So see, those are the extensions. So the first 1, 2, 3 lines are extension mount, and then
Oh.
the 80 degree is a front mount. So
Oh.
it's not right. So you're still getting extension mounts with SR45.
Oh, okay. So you don't get the front mount hangers then for the,
Only in 80 degrees.
oh, okay.
So
That's
that
so
I can't
weird.
remember honestly for the life of me because we did these so long ago what was blacked out before. Did you have that section blacked out for the
Nope.
extent for the
Nope. I
no?
think it's just the articulating hangers were blacked out on
Yeah.
the SR45. But if
Okay.
anybody
So
remembers,
those
let
are
me
the
know.
yeah, so extension mounts for the most part outside of that really, and again, go to that chart because that chart's going to be, or reach out to me and we'll
Okay.
make sure that you get the right thing.
Okay, there's a couple more questions, but maybe we'll talk about those. I think they're related to measuring as well. Anyways, okay,
Can I actually ask you a question? Sorry. How many chairs are you recycling versus ordering new, if you had to guess?
for tilt,
Yeah,
probably 50%
50
of the
50. Okay.
requests. Yeah.
So then that might, so you may have to just order parts then for somebody that requires the extension mount. Okay.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Um, we're just gonna finish this portion here. I just see we have about 15-20 minutes. Okay. So we talked about the armrest types, and then I think just a review of the features of the SR45 and when to justify to go up to the iris. So really, if you have more complex needs for positioning, for leg rest positioning, those kind of things that the SR45 is not going to give you, definitely put that in your justification. Somebody who benefits from a full range of an extra 10 degrees of tilt, that would be also really in conjunction with your other complex needs would add to a more robust justification for your iris, and of course the weight capacity. So that's you know, the 265 versus the 300 or even 400 model. So we do know that there are some things from the contract that don't meet everybody's needs. So that's, sorry, somebody scared me. So that's some off contract talks that we can discuss for sure. So anybody that's bariatric rated, we don't have anything over 400 pounds. So that's a conversation with Sarah or myself to say that we need to look at a different chair altogether from the contract. Okay, so I'm not going to go too much into detail with the next couple of slides because it'll just talk about what is the funded option versus what is not funded through the program. But I just put this in because it can be a resource for different people. If it's a new person starting on your program, that you could just say, you know, standard options that are through the program are on this side of the left side of my PowerPoint here, and then the right side are all the justification things that you need to put into your application. So for example, standard manual tilt versus somebody that needs both the tilt and recline, that's definitely a justification and something we expect or hope that people are trying before they're giving out to their clients as a final prescription. Drop seat pan, so that was the thing that Amanda was talking about, having that option to have a very low seat to floor height. So just know that the drop seat pan is not through us. So that would have to be a funded option. So wheels and casters, we talked about, there's nothing too different. It's the same from before, but there's a lot of C dealer now for the one-arm drive, for plastic rims, those kind of things. The wheel lock extensions are a justification just because we assume that the client is going to be a dependent user. So I'm not sure if they're learning how to turn their or put their brakes on and off, those kind of things. So I do need some justification for that. Footrests, we talked about this, and the options for elevating hangers or front mount is a justification, as well as the contractor footrest system. So you do have to choose the mounting style and an extension height as per the order form there. Footrest, again, we talked about the back posts, armrest, so dual post flip back versus the single post height adjustable. Those are justification items, and their side guards are not something we fund, so that is a C dealer option. Okay, so before we go into the next section, I just wanted to check on the comments and chats here. If anybody has questions for Amanda while we still have her, this would be like a time for people to kind of unmute yourself or write in the
and feel
chat.
free to email me, text me also separately if you want to chat, call me, whatever.
Yeah, so today was just more like we are opening up the order form a little bit more, and there's a little bit more guidance on what is the C dealer option versus the justification items and the no charge items from the program. So I'm just gonna give everybody a pause here to think about questions they want to ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna, if I can steal sharing away from you. Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna stop my sharing for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll just put my oh. Am I just sharing a black screen right now?
You are, yes.
Why won't it escape? How do I get
It's the end of your slideshow.
Yeah, but it
says
won't
click
even
to
let me
exit.
escape.
Can you go back on your slideshow maybe?
Isn't that weird? No. Escape. Delete. Control Alt Delete.
Do you want to put it on the chat? Your
Yeah, I will do
contact
that.
information. That might
Sorry,
be no
that's
problem.
weird that happened. Okay, I'll do that now.
Okay, I just wanted to go back to Ashley. So the measurement is to the back of the foot plate. Just want to clarify because that doesn't seem to be what the illustration is showing. I know I get confused too when I'm looking at that picture, honestly, because it shows.
It's the back of the foot plate because
Okay.
because where we're taking our client's measurement, well, would be from the heel to the back of the knee.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just put, well, we're going to look at doing a little video or finding a really good one on the internet, like
Okay.
just so there's no confusion. Like you can
Mhm.
I'll
do
just put
a
in
play by
my,
play the next time it comes up so that you feel like you know what you're doing.
Okay, I think there's Amanda shared her.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
And I'll just maybe put a thing in that Amanda lives in Ontario, so there is an hour time change.
Oh, she doesn't care about that. I keep bothering
As long
her
as it's
all the
not
time.
midnight.
No, Amanda's been really good to answer our frantic phone calls and stuff, so that's amazing. Okay. Um, if there's no other questions, I'm just gonna let Amanda go. We're just gonna introduce a little bit of just information, new categories. Thanks, Amanda.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. And then I'm just gonna share the screen so that Sarah can take over a little bit more. Um, I'm gonna do it in presentation mode. So 1 second. Here we go. Everybody sees that? The category name? Okay.
So we're changing things again because, you know, change is constant and we're always looking at ways to improve and confuse you. No, I'm just kidding. This should be, once you get the hang of the new language and the new category names and the ABCs, it's very, I know it's going to seem really confusing and a lot of information from the get-go, but once you wrap your head around the simplicity of it, it really does make sense and it's more intuitive. So we are changing into, we still have the 5 categories. So just like we've always had the category 1, the basic simple chairs that go straight through intake. We don't ever look at those applications. And then the category 2s, which are those part-time users, have a little bit more option than the category 1s. And the category 3s, which we focused on today, which are the tilts and reclines. The category 4s are for those full-time users, the more specialty chairs that help people with their independent propulsion. And then the category 5 is power. So those are all staying the same, but within those categories, we've got an A, B, C, D structure. Should we go to the next slide? So not to completely overwhelm you with doing every single of the 5 categories, we're just going to focus today on that category 3 and explain how the ABCD model is coming into effect. So model A, if you just remember, it's a standard run-of-the-mill. So adults under the weight capacity of the chair, which for the SR45 and the Iris is 300 pounds. The Model B is the heavy duty, so that is only available through the Iris, and it's up to 400 pounds. Model C is, if you think of C and child, so Model C in any of the categories will be related to the pediatric sizing. In this case, it's the Zippy Iris, or depending on their size and weight, they'll go into the adult ones on because they range down so small. And then D is bariatric, and that is defined as something that goes above and over what's available in Model B, which is the heavy duty. So currently, we don't have anything on contract bariatric. So once that individual that needs tilt is over 400 pounds, we have to look outside of what we provide in our program. And I have to switch over to the other computer because I can't flip through. Or wait, let's see if I can take control. No, I have to ask. Okay, hang on. All right. Manual, tilt and recline. Okay, so and then within the category, so we have category 3, tilt and recline. So type 1 is your basic. Doesn't have any special features. Type 2, once you go into type 2, you get special features being tilt and recline. So again, it's the same within category 3. You have your type 1 basic, which we went through. Type 2, that's with the special features of tilt and recline. And again, it has model A, B, C, D. So it just helps us categorize on our end what is going out and the clarity on what people are ordering. It went into different presentation mode. You want to just do the next slide? I'm done this slide, yep. And with the tilt and recline, we're just going to reinforce that we really like to see a trial to truly justify why particularly that recline is going to work or needs to be considered basic and essential for your client. And that's really hard to do if you haven't actually tried the system with them to truly understand and see and have the client or family informed on what that feature does and if it really is able to do what you think it can do for the client. And we have a historical document that I received back in, I think, 2005 when I first started from SMD Wheelchair Services. And it's a kind of a cheat sheet on the tilt and recline advantages and disadvantages. And that's something that hopefully we'll get back up onto our website. But if you want it sooner, just again, send an email to the Manitoba Wheelchair Prescribers email, and I'll send you a scanned copy of it. But it just talks about the advantages and disadvantages of those different special features for the category 2 chairs. Next. And we'll open it up to questions.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay.
And it's Gord from CTS. Hi.
Hi, Gord. You know what? I'm gonna stop the recording just 1 second so that you guys don't feel like you have to be on the thing. But okay, here we go.